For more information, visit QveraGlobal.com. Cuvera, an InvestView company.
Hey, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. It is a Money Monday, as I may have mentioned. I like to kick off the week talking about money and what's happening in your portfolio. Don't forget, for those of you who are watching and you haven't subscribed yet, what you need to do is you need to send me an email. Okay, my email should pop up right below at some point at jt@liquidlunchtv.com. And you can get a free letter every Monday of my newsletter, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Give you a little cheat sheet, a little roadmap to what to look out for in the markets and politics and the news for the week. Check it out. We've had a huge response. I'm getting tremendous feedback. Email me. Just all I want is your name and what state you're in. No credit card, no scam. You get 1 month free, but you got to pay for 3. None of that. Email me, jt@liquidlunchtv.com, and you get the Monday Morning Quarterback newsletter. Now, when we bring on the money guest, that includes one of my favorites, Pavlina Osta, who joins us today. Pavlina is a producer with Salem Communications, and if God had a podcast, she'd be the host. And by the way, she is the host of the If God Had a podcast. How are you?
I'm good,
What's
John.
happening?
Oh, you know.
So, a lot of things in the news. You try to give us a woman's perspective, a younger person's perspective, but it seems like this whole student loan debt and the case for college is crumbling, and it affects many in our audience who are parents and grandparents of people your age because they're taking on all this debt, but their parents actually signed for it. What's happening out there? Does it even pay to go to college anymore?
Well, that's the thing, and this has been a big debate that I know I've come on and I've talked to you guys about this a lot because it's such a problem. And basically, you're right, the case for college is crumbling. People are realizing that it's really not worth going to college for 4 years, getting all of that debt, 5+ figures in debt, and then when they get out of college, they're getting these like lower paying jobs, they're not able to get a home. You know, those kind of things. They end up getting credit cards, they have credit card debt. Like, it's just this like really black hole that people just don't want to get into anymore. And I recommend going to like a trade school, 6 months, get your like certificate and whatever it is that you want to do.
Not the worst thing
if
ever.
you need it. Yeah. If
and
you
you
need
want to know
that kind of
something?
thing.
We should do an exercise, right? We should go get a young person just about to go to college and take them to 5 banks and try to get a $1,000 loan.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that they will not get a $1,000 loan.
won't.
But somehow or another, there's some genius in giving a kid who's 18 years old an unsecured credit line for $200,000.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a job making 50, 75, 100. The math don't even add up.
Exactly.
You may not even ever be able to pay off your student loan debt.
Right, and I like my older sister, for example. She was in her undergrad, and now she's a lawyer. But she has crazy amounts of debt from law school and everything. And even as a lawyer, she's having trouble paying that off. And it's just like one of those things that you're really not setting students up for success when that happens.
So, if you are in college or you're in your workplace, it seems there is a growing idea that the use of some psychedelic organic vegetables like mushrooms
Drugs.
might actually, well, they're actually legal in New York
because
they're organic and they're vegetables. But there's a growing theory that these psychedelics can help with PTSD, and they can also help for clarity in your brain.
That's true. So there, a lot of studies are coming out about these illegal drugs, right? They're psychedelics. That's the ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like Coke or whatever else. But the psychedelic ones have been, they're starting to get proven to show, like basically, people are saying that they're helping them improve their value in themselves, and like they're seeing their true potential when it comes to their careers and their work life and everything. And so they're starting to use them more and seeing how they can help them with their careers.
I've covered this story a couple of weeks back where there is a growing concern in the medical community that there are some really good benefits to like veterans with PTSD and stuff, that it kind of gives them an equalizing effect.
Right, and it helps a lot with depression and anxiety too.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to go to Billionaire Mark Cuban, and to talk about that, I want to bring in my favorite billionaire, Frank Morano.
Oh, please.
Yes.
So,
not unless you're going by Turkish lira.
Apparently, Cuban is out there talking about one of the greatest lies in life is to actually pursue your passion, Frankie. You've been doing that.
So what is he saying exactly?
So basically, Mark Cuban was just saying on some kind of like Amazon panel that pursuing your passion might not actually be the best choice because you're not going, he gave the example of like he loved baseball, but he can only throw 70 miles an hour, whereas like a professional throws around 90 miles an hour. So you might not be as successful if you pursue those kinds of passions.
So if you blindly chase the thing,
Right.
Then you might actually be hurting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me as pretty good advice. I mean, we can't have a world filled with cowboys and astronauts, can we?
Right, and I think the big thing that I was actually just thinking about this, like everyone wants to be an influencer, everyone wants to be on social media and famous in that whole realm. And it's like, well, that's only a handful of people. Only a handful can be an influencer. Only a handful can do that kind of thing. So it's just like your passions. Have a lot of passions. Pursue different things. Yeah.
Well, that's not the worst thing I ever heard. I mean, I'm pursuing my passion to the best I can. I'm over here trying to make television great again.
But you're only able to do that, John, because you made a career prior to being on television. A lot of people that want to be on television, may not have the means to do this.
Got it. So pursuing your passion. I understand where Cuban's coming from. I take one thing into question here. Mark Cuban wishes he could throw a 70-mile-per-hour fastball right now.
Not that
I've
fast.
seen that. I mean, I guarantee you he cannot hit 70 on the meter from a MLB pitcher's mound. No way. Mark Cuban, prove it. I say that. You think he could hit
totally.
it? You think he could throw 70 miles an hour?
No, my power's in my legs. I got more muscle in my legs than my arms. I can't throw anything.
What do you think about Cuban, bud? He doesn't look like he's in the greatest of shape.
I don't know. He owns the Mavericks, right? Like you think like he'd throw a football or two, or maybe run across the field. Who knows?
All right, or a baseball, or a basketball. No way you could throw a basketball 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, that'd be
you got to check out the If God Had a podcast.
Yes.
And if you want to know the person who's in the Guinness Book of World Records, right, for the most interviews in a 24-hour period.
That's right.
That's her, and that's why when God came up with a podcast, he got her to host it.
Exactly.
And God bless God for sending her here every so often to give us another perspective, because we try to let all voices be heard, all perspectives be seen, and we'll do more of that right after this when we come back at you with Tisha Powell, defense attorney. She's going to be talking to us about all the legal ramifications around impeachment. Derek's going to be out on the streets, and he may have found us a world champion. Let you know more about that right after this.